Okay, I was going to play back some video clips, but I wanted to kind of tell you what it was before I played it back, right? So this is some clips from last summer when I went to Colorado and I stayed in it's a national forest near Buena Vista, Colorado. And anyway, it was a holiday weekend. I think it was Memorial Day. Whenever there's a holiday, all the campgrounds are really packed. The national forests are really packed when there's a holiday, trust me. And the way this national forest is like, you go down this long road and then it has these little turnoffs, these little sub roads that go to this camping area, right? So, some of the camping areas are steep up, some are down lower, just different ones. But each time you turn off onto this little kind of a driveway kind of thing, there's usually like 2 or 3 campgrounds there. So naturally, I would love to have one all to myself. So of course, I had been there for several days, and then I saw all the people coming in for the holiday. I'm like, oh God, I want to share my campsite with some people, because the people you get sometimes, we'll just say they can be, you know, not real fun. So anyway, it was getting in the afternoon, and I felt like everybody that was going to come was already there. And so I was in my trailer doing something, and there was a knock on the door. I thought, who could that be? It is always strange when you're camping and you're out in the woods and there's a knock on the door. So I go to the door and open this door, and there's this unassuming young chap. He's very courteous and everything, and he says, I would just like to know if it would be okay if me and my friends camp near you. I said, of course. First of all, he didn't even need to ask me. So the fact that he was courteous enough to ask me almost guarantees that I'm going to say yes, right? So I said, of course, and I'll even help you get set up if you need it. He says, no, I'm okay. So I said, well, who do you have with you? He says, it's just me and I have 2 buddies. And I said, okay, well, sure, go right ahead. So I waited till they got all set up and the sun was starting to go down. And then I said, well, I should go over there and talk to him. I figured I would record a little bit, and that way I have some content for my videos. There was the guy who came to my door is American, and then he had 2 Japanese friends with him. They were all young, early 20s, talking young. And I didn't really talk to the Japanese ones too much. I didn't really get any footage of that because one of them was holding a flashlight because, it was dark. One of them was holding a flashlight, and they never showed the flashlight back on them. So you don't really see them too much in the video, but they were shining the flashlight on the other guy, the American that came to my trailer door. They're shining the flashlight on him. So that's why most of the video you see him, because that's who they were shining the flashlight on. I didn't have a light of my own. I just had to film whatever they were shining the flashlight on. So anyway, I asked that guy, I said, so where are you from? He said, well, we're all coming from Denver. Denver is a few hours away. And then I said, so tell me, where are you from? He says, I was actually born in a small town called Paonia. I said, oh, really? Paonia? I know exactly where that is. I've been there a few times. It's a nice, quaint little town. You should look that up. You Google it sometimes, Paonia, Colorado. I would actually like to even live there. But it's a real small town, but it has, it just has a lot of natural beauty to it. And it has a lot of young people there too. When I first walked out there, they were eating, and they were all eating with chopsticks. And I was like, oh God, these Japanese guys have got him all, switched over to chopsticks. But, they had a campfire going, and they had a little, frying pan. They put a little grease in it, and they had these little thin slices of pork, and they would use the chopsticks to plop a piece of pork on there, and it would sizzle, and they flip it over and it would sizzle, and then they would grab it up, and they had some other vegetables, in their plate, and some sauces, and so they would dip it in the sauce and then eat the vegetables. I don't remember which vegetables they have. I remember thinking bean sprouts or something like that, but I didn't really make note of it, and it was really dark. But anyway, so they ate dinner that way. They all 3 did, and they asked me if I was hungry, and I actually had already eaten, so I couldn't join them. But that's what they had. And then, so by the time I went over there the second time, which is where this footage is from, they were going to have dessert. So dessert was them making some s'mores. So that's what you see this guy doing, making s'mores. You know, it was a neat thing. And so anyway, I like to record things like this because it's really a good part of traveling. It's one of my favorite parts of traveling. You get to meet people from all walks of life. You don't know who you're going to meet. It's really neat. And, you know, I always get on myself because, you know, I always want to camp by myself. But then I know that's the worst thing for me. I shouldn't be camping by myself. I should be like meeting people around me. So I was actually glad that they came up. And I asked him, he said, well, we're camping somewhere else further up the road. And I said, really? Well, what happened with that? And he said, well, there were some hippies camping there and they were in a school bus and they told us to get out. And I said, well, you didn't have to get out. This is a national forest. And he said they were real kind of mean looking and everything. So the hippies threw them out, but I welcomed them. So I asked them, they were just going to stay one night, and they said yes. Unfortunately, because I could have hung out with them the following day, but they said that the next day they were going to Sand Dunes National Park. That's also in Colorado, and I think that was like a couple of hours from where we were. And I said, "What are you going to do? Camp there?" And he said, "Yeah, you know, there's places to camp there." And I said, "I didn't know that. You know, I probably would have gone down there to camp if I had known that." But so that was the people I ran into, and that was the footage. Just want to tell you that story. One more little tidbit of my vacation, my trip from last year to Colorado.